gem from Mickey about to drop a gem. 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 Here comes a gem. Here comes a gem. Here comes a gem from Mickey about to drop a gem. Mickey about to drop a gem. Mickey about to drop a gem. Okay, now listen up.
What's up, guys? It's Mickey, and welcome back to another episode of Blank Canvas. All right. How was my BK fam feeling? I hope amazing, excellent, swell. It's been a long week. I'm recording this towards the end of the week. I'm also doing a fast, so I'm hungry right now. I am hungry, and I'm not always the nicest when I'm hungry. I need to eat a Snickers, except I don't really like Snickers. But yeah, I don't really know what to share with you guys because it's so many chaotic things going on in this world. And in my fast, I've been praying for the world and praying for different things and getting wisdom and this and that. I've already prayed before this episode and said, Holy Spirit, let your people hear what they need to hear. And I still don't know exactly what y'all need to hear. I don't even know if this episode will be released, to be honest. I may end up having to do another one. But while we're here, let's have a little chit chat, okay? So currently right now, at the time that I'm recording, I don't know any resolutions that could possibly be done by the time this episode premieres, but Jimmy Kimmel has been fired. And the comments that he said were not egregious, outrageous, or anything at all. In fact, they seem pretty factual. And anybody with eyes can see that. He also is a comedian, so he should be allowed to make jokes. I think my problem with America, and it probably happens in other places, but I know it is allowed heavily in America, is the free speech is only okay for certain demographics, and free speech seems like it's only okay for hate speech. Like, as much as we say, like, no, don't be hateful, it's like, we know it's tolerated. Especially if you're black or a minority, we know it's tolerated. When it came to Charlie Kirk, everybody was like, if you repost his own words, that's not nice. People are getting fired. If some people said some things that we already talked about in the previous episode, we do not agree or stand with, because we don't wish death or ill will on anybody, and nobody should die for their opinion, right? I have the ability in this country to do a podcast, which I'm sure all of us, including myself at this point, feel like there are too many of us and all of us don't need to be saying everything all the time, right? But we all got a mic now, and we all can have access to a mic and create our own audiences. And with that, it's annoying sometimes. When I say annoying, sometimes we don't want to hear certain voices, sometimes we don't want to hear certain opinions, but it is what it is. And with things like that also come great responsibility, especially if you have like impact and influence. You have to be very careful, but everybody doesn't care about that. So Charlie's free speech and what they claim he stood for was to be able to say whatever you wanted, including things that are hateful. And we're seeing that is not the same across the board. But I feel like if you were black in this country, we knew that. After George Floyd, we saw plenty of people make fun of his death. Plenty of people. When Barack Obama was our president, oh my God, the things that they said were horrendous, outrageous, ridiculous. When just recently, in this year, when they were building the concentration camp in Florida, and literally talking about like, people from ICE were immigrants picked up by ICE. Let me be correct. Immigrants picked up by ICE were going to be put in these camps, right? People were laughing and making nicknames when they were like, oh, we're going to put alligators out here. Some of them should be eaten and everything. People were laughing and thought that was funny. None of that was funny. There was a Fox News reporter who I will not repeat exactly what he said. Go Google the comments about what he said about homeless people and pay attention to how many stories of homeless people have suddenly been murdered, hung in different cases in different states. There's a reason we say, let's not spew hatred. There's a reason we say, like, yes, we can have a difference of opinion, but when it becomes to racism, misogyny, and everything, that's something like we can't just allow. Like, sure, you can feel how you feel, but to spread it to the masses is crazy because it has consequences. It has consequences. And the Jimmy Kimmel thing is not just about Charlie, because if you listen to the actual comment, it was more about Trump than anything. But right now, Trump is on such a campaign to take all of our rights away that free speech is, of course, fair game. And when it comes to the ABC decision, I see a lot of people canceling their Disney subscriptions. And listen, I'm okay with that. Fight back with the money, because that's the only thing companies in America listen to right now is the money. Target didn't want to listen until they lost a lot of money. Now, most of us still not going back in Target because Target, honestly, nobody probably don't want to admit it, but Target kind of hurt our feelings because it was like, you weren't supposed to be them. We knew what Walmart was. We knew what a lot of the other brands were. We knew what it was. We didn't expect better from them. It's almost like, let me speak for myself. I feel like in today's time, it's almost like having a friend outside of your race and thinking like, oh, they really love me and they really stick up for me. And then you find out like, oh no, they don't. Or, oh no, there was no situation to reveal where they really stand when it comes to certain topics. You know, like it's disappointing, and Target disappointed us. ABC and Disney, I wasn't that surprised. I mean, they own a lot of things, and I don't know how to properly break down. I'd have to like play the video for you guys, but there was this lady who broke down, and I don't want to misquote her. So I would say go research how local stations are owned, and then who owns like majority of the local stations like Nexstar and all those kind of things. Like, it's more than just they're firing him for like, I mean, it still attacks free speech regardless. But when a lot of companies are monopolizing and saying, hey, we're going to pull the show off unless he apologizes and donates to Charlie's family, like, this is insane. This is America. It's the First Amendment. It's the First Amendment. And honestly, even though hate speech should not be allowed to be done, it's probably arguably the most protected, right? Because nobody should be able to kill another person for it, even though it leads to that, which is why it's so dangerous and really something should be done about it. But there's a thin line to walk with that, because then you can start trampling in so many other things. And when they tell us what we're allowed to say, and they control our programming, like, hello, Russia, are we there? This is the United States, not Russia. All right? Like, and the crazy thing is, majority of the people, and studies have shown this recently and over the past couple of years, majority of people don't trust the government anyways. Majority of people, oh, hey, Redbird. It's good luck. It's either money or good luck, and I'll take both at this point. But majority of us don't trust the government in general. And then we can see in real time in America, our courts are tainted all the way to the highest level. Everybody is literally picking a side and thinking this is a game when these are people's real lives. And I think everybody, no matter which side of the aisle you're on, no matter what you believe or don't believe, everybody needs to ring the fire alarm to free speech. Whether you have a podcast or not, whether you're talking on social media, whether you have a large number of followers and stuff or views, depending on which social media platform and stuff it is and what exactly is your content, whether you have a lot of listeners, like, all of us should be afraid. All of us should be afraid, because it's not just on social media. It's not just podcasts. It's not just entertainment. It's also in everyday workplaces. We watch plenty of people be fired over recent situations, right? So if they can fire you from jobs, they can do, and then I know there's the argument, well, companies are allowed to do this and that, but especially if something wasn't harmful, and then you're saying it's not following the code. And I'm so disappointed in Auburn. I'm a huge Auburn fan. I am disappointed from my football head coach. His comments about certain things recently put a very distasteful, just bad, like, ugh, made me want to vomit when I thought about certain things. Because his specific wording to certain issues, and because to be honest, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say exactly what he said or will my podcast be pulled. So I'll say go research his recent comments about certain things. Now, he didn't just talk about one specific thing. I watched the full clip. He mentioned like 3 or 4 things in that clip, but they were only going to pull the one part that he said. But the way he like praised and went in about certain things, it felt so problematic and harmful. And I really felt bad for all the black boys and black young men that he coached. Like, black young men, I don't want to call them boys, I really feel bad. I feel bad because then I started, as much as I was like on the bandwagon of Hugh Freeze, I had to question, Bruce Pearl, our basketball coach, has already been in some heat and some hot water before, but Hugh Freeze hadn't been in hot water with us for comments or doing certain behaviors. That was the past. That was Ole Miss, guys. That was Ole Miss. And he had a chance to redeem himself, but he said some comments that I was just like, Nick Saban would have never. In fact, I didn't see any other college football coach across the board ever. Like, Nick Saban was strategically smart, business smart, and even if I know for a fact that we may not have seen everything eye to eye, what I can respect about Nick Saban is he never publicly made his players feel uncomfortable or even put them in a position where they could. You know what I mean? Nick Saban was the coach that was out there marching with his team. So I have so much respect for that. I hate the team that he coached, but as a coach and as a man, and even as just a businessman, he just knew how to make smart decisions. Like, it's just, you don't piss off the base, because it's not just a certain demographic that buys tickets to certain games and events. You also don't make your players feel uncomfortable. Like, they need to trust you. They need to know. So there were some things that definitely put a bad taste in my mouth. And right now, I just can't even get myself to look at Hugh Freeze the same. Like, most of the time, I don't even want to see him on my TV screen. Show me my team. War Eagle to the boys, because they've been working hard and, like, moving on. But it wasn't just my coach. Like, clearly he's still there. So you kind of know where his comments lean towards. But there were some Auburn staff that were fired for their comments. And I didn't see what their exact comments were. So I can't speak to the directness of that, but that was nowhere near the only school, I should say, that fired employees and stuff. And I just feel like we're walking on thin ice, ladies and gentlemen. We're walking on thin ice. And if they can tell us what to think, if they can tell us what we can and can't say, if they can control our media even more than they already do, we're cooked. We're cooked, because then they're going to try to tell us what to think, but that's not happening. That's not happening. We need people to be able to think for themselves. We need people to do the research. They're trying to I saw an article this morning where the Department of Education was partnering with different groups, very questionable groups, to rewrite our history and make civics differently. They're investing a ton of money to be able to do that. And it scares the heck out of me, because I already know in certain states, they're teaching slavery as if it was optional or if it wasn't that bad. They ate us. They ate us. They ate our bodies. They ate our bodies. George Washington teeth. Do y'all know where his teeth came from? Do y'all know where his teeth came from? Okay. I can go on about the horrendous things that have happened in slavery, that happened in civil rights. And see, the thing is, it's like a mind voodoo trick that they do on purpose. You open your history book or you see pictures on the internet, they could have put them in color. They had them in black and white to make it feel like it's so long ago. It wasn't that long ago. Our parents and grandparents tell us all the time of the racism that they dealt with back in that time. We have our own stories now, but I'm just saying, that time wasn't that long ago. Those people are still alive, which means if our parents and grandparents are still alive, the people who were spitting on people, beating people, wearing hoods as clan members and going out by day, if they're still alive too, and they're still spreading their way of thinking down. I remember it used to be a saying that a lot of black people will have, well, when the certain generation dies off, it'll get better. But if they're spreading that down to the next and the next and the next and the next and the next, because you guys will never convince me that racism is not taught. Because when you are a child, you do not care. It's, oh my God, do you want to play with me? Or, oh my God, they did want to play with me. That hurt my feelings. Oh my God, I'm going to share. Or, oh my God, I don't want to share right now. Like, kids are so simple, so unproblematic in certain ways. I have to, all the parents are looking at me like, speak for yourself. Unproblematic in certain ways. But when it comes to things like that, they don't care. They do not care. And it's just scary times. It's scary times. I don't know what to say. But here's what I do want to leave you with. I saw this thing on Facebook, and I called the number, and it actually worked. So this post said, and some of y'all have probably seen it before, it says, if anyone needs a little motivation today, call 707-873-7862. And it's a school project where kindergartners give you a pep talk. And they have this whole theme, and the line is done, and you can even donate to it to keep it going. I called it this morning to make sure it worked. It does. It picked up my spirits a little bit because, again, I'm hungry. And I'm not the nicest when I'm hungry. But that's what I want to leave you guys with, is just a start warning of wake up, get your heads out of the sand, and everybody, no matter what you believe in, what you don't believe in, everybody needs to be fighting for free speech. Every single person. Even the higher companies. Okay? Because if you start limiting what everybody can say, who's even going to want to listen to podcasts and different things after a while? Everybody sounds the same. Nobody sounds authentic. That's what keep you having multiple different people come and be able to start their different things and create different audiences and stuff. You're going to limit your own money. Because if we're only going to be allowed to say certain things and what we don't agree with and what we can't speak on, we are cooked. We are cooked. If you can't go in certain environments and say things, they're literally encouraging people to snitch on each other. We're cooked if we don't get it together. So I would like to suggest, ladies and gentlemen, get your head out of the sand. Pay attention to free speech has been under attack. And it has just upped the scales on how far they are willing to go publicly at that. And if they feel like they can continue to get away with it, oh boy, imagine what's next. So, as always, I love you guys. I can't wait to see what we talk about next time. I hope this is a little informative. And if you don't take away anything from this episode, call that number or donate to that kindergarten line to keep that going, because I just think some positivity and some happiness in this world is what we need. I love you guys. I can't wait to see what we talk about next time. All right, guys. Bye.
Deadly, silent killer, hard to daddy. Most killers had no daddy. Sadly, that's just what it be in my community. We got no unity. Dark skin wanna ruin me. I'm speaking fluently, so just listen. Blank canvas, blank canvas, blank canvas, blank canvas.